Just over 2 weeks ago, the Wall Street Journal published an opinion piece by the Vice Squatter Mike Dumbass Pence titled that there isn't a coronavirus second wave, but the article was supposed to reassure the nation, which it didn't. What it provided, instead, was a clear illustration of the delusions and magical thinking that have marked every step of the 45th administration response to the COVID-19, producing an epic policy disaster. Put it this way, by now, according to the 45 officials and his sycophant inbreeding supporters, we're supposed to be seeing a fading pandemic and a roaring recovery. Instead, we have a fading recovery and a roaring pandemic. About the pandemic, the dumbass Pence article cheerily declared that cases have stabilized at the daily average number of new cases at only 20,000. Even that figure, as it happens, was 5 times the number in the European nation, which has a third more people than America does anyway. Since then, however, new cases have soared, hitting more than 50,000 by some counts on Wednesday. Indeed, at this point, Arizona with 7 million people, is reporting around as many new cases each day as the whole European Union, with 446 million people. Some 45 supporters are still trying to dismiss the upswing in cases as an illusion created by more testing, but it isn't. Cases have grown far more than testing has. Hospitalizations have shot up in Arizona and Texas, which are the leading edge of the new surge. In both states, hospitals are in crisis mode. Florida, which is probably in the same situation, hasn't been releasing hospitalization data yet. The one piece of a slightly good news is that deaths from the coronavirus are still fading, in part because the new wave of infections is hitting people younger than the first wave did, in part perhaps because doctors have gotten better at treating the disease, but COVID-19 can be debilitating and cause long-term damage even when it doesn't kill. Also, deaths are a lagging indicator in Arizona, where the jump in cases began about 2 weeks ago. Before the rest of the Sun Belt, deaths are rising. The thing is, COVID-19's resurgence was utterly predictable and predicted. When 45 declared that we would transition to greatness, which is to say, rush to reopen the economy despite the pandemic, epidemiologists warned that this could set off a new wave of infections, and they were right. The economists had warned that while relaxing social distancing would lead to a brief period of job growth, these gains would be short-lived. That premature reopening would be self-defeating, even in an economic terms. They were also right on that. Don't be fooled by the big job numbers and on Thursday's employment report, a number that still left us down almost 15 million jobs from February. The report was a snapshot of the economy during the reference period, basically the second week of June. So it's telling us what was happening before the COVID-19 surge became apparent. We don't have official data for what has happened since then, but a variety of the real-time indicators suggest that the recovery has stalled or even gone backward. Indeed, things started falling apart even before the states began reversing some of their previous moves to reopen. Fear of infection will do that. Many people will avoid going out whatever their governors may say. As a result, unemployment still in double digits probably won't get much better for a long time. Now, there isn't a one-to-one correspondence between jobs and the spread of the pandemic. If we had all worn masks and avoided stupid policies like reopening bars and resuming large indoor gatherings, we probably would have had substantial job gains without surge in infections, but we didn't, largely because 45 and the Republican governors refused to take sensible actions, and in most cases prevented mayors and other local officials from acting sensibly on their own. Nor can we simply hit the reset button. Activities we could have safely resumed 2 months ago, when infection rates were low, they aren't safe to continue given today's much higher COVID-19 prevalence. That is, we're in worse shape, even economically, than we would have been if 45 and his allies had taken the pandemic seriously early on. The really frightening aspect about where we are is that 45 and his people don't seem to have learned anything from the coronavirus debacle. On Wednesday, 45 insisted, as he has at every stage of the pandemic, that the coronavirus would just sort of just disappear, and it didn't. The Trumpists are crowing about the June unemployment number with no apparent awareness that it's out of date, and the situation has probably worsened in recent weeks. The sad, even terrifying thing is that the Trumpian delusions of success will impose a heavy price on the rest of us. Right now, we should be going all out to bring the COVID-19 surge under control, making sure that Americans keep getting the economy aid they need. In reality, neither of those things is likely to happen. Infections and hospitalizations will soar further, and millions of Americans will lose crucial economic lifelines in a few weeks. The next 4 months are going to be very, very ugly.